transported to the slipway. So we can take a photo in every position, every key position of this big structure, so we can study the movements around the shipyard. Also, of course, the work of this planning work can be saved, and this would be called, we call these sessions. Sessions can be thought of like a file in your hard drive, but in this case they are stored in a database, and it has to be suitable to support a variety of shipyards, different shipyards, and as we have already said, all the info will be stored in a database. So the point cloud acquisition process starts with the flight planning. We need to know where we are going to fly and which is the path that the drone is going to follow, because this point cloud has to be acquired with a drone. This is the fastest way to achieve it, because this can be made in a variety of ways. For example, you could go with a laser scanner in a tripod, or you can do this with photogrammetry, with manually with a camera, but that would take too much time. We are using a drone equipped with a lidar. Each flight takes around 8 minutes, so that is the time it takes to have an image of the shipyard or the industrial installation. Okay. Once you know what is the flight you need to make, it is a requirement to request permissions to fly. This is imperative for safety. And then there comes the data collection process. Let's see an example. So this is the point cloud acquisition in NODOSA. Here the drone is scanning with the lidar unit here, and this is one of the trials we made to make the scanning inside one of the shipyard workshops. Then once we have acquired the data, the drone lands and we can pick up the data and go to the post-process part. Okay. So we need to post-process the data. It is very usual that the lidar is in a proprietary format that is not compatible with directly compatible with other software. So we need to post-process to export the point cloud to one of these standard point cloud formats. And if there are any mistakes, there will be some correction. Okay. So the platform there will be a platform that can have different shipyards on it. Each shipyard is a different point cloud. We will have to make some flights to have them all. And inside the shipyard, there will be sessions that we have already explained, that these sessions are like files. For example, if you are planning the building of a fishing ship, for example, you can store that planning into one session, so you don't lose the data. You can make parallel sessions for the same ship or for different ships. Inside the sessions, there will be several timestamps, and this corresponds to the same project or the same build, and in different moments of the time. That's why we call that timestamps. And finally, inside every timestamp, there will be different objects. So, for example, next Monday at 7 a.m., there will be in the yard of the shipyard, there will be 2 blocks, an engine, a propeller, the rudder, different objects positioned around the space of the shipyard that will be there. So, okay, that defines timestamp 1, that would be next Monday at 7 a.m. And the next timestamp would be the same day at 10 a.m. So the objects, there can be the same objects in different positions, or different objects, or some of them have been removed. So that's the idea of this. So I think this is easier to understand if we have a small example. Okay, so this is the login page. Here we have implemented a user password system that is not working for this demonstration, but it can be attached to the platform if required. So to make things easier, this is not going to, it works with any user and password you input. And here we have 2 shipyards. The 2 end users we have for Mary4Yard project, NODOSA and Broadsplit. We can see here, this is the NODOSA shipyard. This is the point cloud we obtained from the scanning you saw in the video. And this is the Broadsplit shipyard. And this point cloud has been obtained by photogrammetry. And we have here the first timestamp, that is an empty timestamp, because the shipyard in this case starts empty. So this is an empty timestamp. And in the second timestamp, we have these 3 blocks from the workshop, and they are supposed to be moving in this path. 2 of them will be moving to the slipway, and the third one, the yellow one, will be moving to the painting workshop, for example. So if we advance, we can see they are moving. They are being placed in different positions, and we can make studies. So if it is possible to leave more space here, because we need to go through there with some materials. Okay. And they are moving towards the destiny that is around here. And we can see the progression. We could insert some elements here. We are still fixing some minor issues as this labels problem, but that would be fixed as soon as possible. And here we can see the final state of the blocks, and we have positioned one above the other, just like a build step. So this is the platform. It allows to insert objects and move them around the shipyard. And now I'm going to show the functionalities. We have already seen the login window. We are going to see how to create a session. We are going to use Broadsplit. So the first thing we should do is add a session. We input the name, for example, the name of the building. and we can input a description for that. For example, cruise ship. Okay, this information would be stored into the database, and here we have the new session we have added. We click on go, and we find this. The first thing we find is the reference system that informs the user on the directions and the orientations of the axis. Okay, so the first thing we must do is to create a new timestamp with this button up here on the right corner of the upper right corner of the screen. We have these options. We can create a new timestamp. And for example, I'm going to create a timestamp for today at 10 a.m. and I save it. So now we have the first empty timestamp. I want to start with the shipyard empty completely. So I will add another one for today at 11, because we are starting the process of putting the block out of the workshop at 10 o'clock, and we are expecting it to be out at 11 o'clock. Let's say it takes an hour to do that. So now that we have two timestamps, they are both empty. So the first one is going to be empty, but if I move to the second one, I can, with this button here, load object, I can load an object in the platform. So we have different test objects here. I would insert this block, and we have to, because of the internal working of Pottery, we need to add a texture, for example, that one. And it is important to input a name. It is also important to create a codification system to identify objects. For example, in this case, for this basic training, I am using the construction name followed by the block number and an incremental number. And this is starting position, for example, and we can control the position, the rotation, and the attributes. Attributes are very useful. We have created two attributes, but any number of them could be created, and this could be filled in with any information that the end user requires. For example, the weight of the block or the main dimensions, anything. So if I click load, we can see here the block has been input in the point cloud. It is very important that next step after inserting a block is save it in the current timestamp. So now the web will refresh and will remain at the first timestamp that was empty. But if I click here, you can see that the block is positioned there. And now I can move it through the shipyard. Okay, so I'm clicking here on this arrow, the positive direction of the x-axis, and I can increment the distance I move it. Okay, I am happy with the position of the block. I hover over the label and click on update object. It returns me to the first timestamp, but if I move to the second one, you see that the position of this object has been updated. If I need to delete the object, I can click here and delete it, and it has already been removed from the scene. if I made a mistake and I want to delete one of these timestamps, the timestamp must be empty. So if I click on it, it deletes the timestamp. And that's it. That's the basic working of the platform. There are some tools in Pottery that allows you to measure distances and measure heights. Let's try it here, for example. It allows me to take measurements of heights, distances. You can measure angles. You can measure areas. There are also a list with all the objects inserted. If we go here and insert some object, for example, let me insert this propeller. Okay. If we insert this propeller, it would appear here in this list where we can control visibility of both the level and the object. And those are the functionalities of the platform. The working is very useful, very easy. It's not difficult to understand, and that's